Welcome to another installment of your Project Parade. This particular card uses a pattern that the designer created to make a dress. And as you can see, it's a 3D dress that pops right up off the page. So we're just going to be using a piece of Tempting Turquoise cardstock, and then we're going to be using some designer series paper. This is from one of our paper pattern packs, and if you don't have one of these, you better order one right now because these are awesome. They have all different patterns that have to do with the color family. So this is a Brights pattern, and as you can see, each page has two patterns, one on the front, one on the back, and they each have a couple of different ones. So for our purposes, we're just going to be using the polka dot, and I'm going to cut a 6x6 piece of that, and then I'm going to use the designer's pattern to create the dress. So I'm going to be putting the pattern directly onto the cardstock. So what I like to do with this is I just like to put a little drop of snail on here. And I'm just going to put the piece of snail above where I want the pattern because I don't want that to interfere when I cut this out. So I'm just going to center that on there so that I know I have enough room. And I've just adhered it right here at the top. And then I'm going to begin to cut this out using my paper snips. So I'm just going to go right around in a circle, and I'm going to cut that dress. And all of these scores that you see on here, the dotted one is a valley fold, and the solid one is a mountain fold, so that you can see how to cut this dress when you get there. So I'm going to cut right up to this line, and then I'm going to come right around this side and do the same thing. And then I'm just going to cut right around to the center. Now this pattern is going to fall off as soon as I do this, okay? And then I'm going to take this extra piece that I have, and I'm going to take the other pattern, and this is for the top of her dress, and I'm going to put that right here on top, and I'm just going to hold it in place, and I'm going to cut around to create the top of her dress. Once I have my pattern cut out, I'm going to work on my background. So I've taken a piece of very vanilla cardstock and one of our textured impressions folders. This particular one is called Finial Press, and these don't come in these stamp cases. These are just empty stamp cases that I purchase from the catalog, and I put one of my sheets in the front and one in the back, and then I can store 2 embossing folders in each one, and then I just write the name on the side, and it helps me to keep track of them. So I'm going to take one of these. I'm just going to slip my piece of cardstock right in there. I'm going to make a sandwich using 2 of my cutting plates. And then generally when I dry emboss like this, I use my multi-purpose platform fully open. And then I'm going to take this whole thing and I'm going to pass it through the Big Shot. When it comes out, I'm going to have this nicely embossed piece of cardstock in vanilla. And then I'm going to take my Crumb Cake Classic ink pad, and this is a phenomenal pad for sponging and antiquing and doing all kinds of good stuff, as well as stamping. I'm going to take a Stampin' Sponge, and I'm just going to gently ink this, and then I'm going to just pass it over the raised portions, and I'm not pushing down at all because I only want to antique this, so I just want to hit the top edges of this embossing folder, and that's just going to give it a little extra dimension. We're then just going to put some snail on the back of this, and when I emboss things and I put adhesive on the back, I try not to push down too hard because you don't want to flatten out your embossing. So we're just going to center this on our cardstock, and then we're going to begin working on our pattern. So again, the dotted lines are going to be your valley folds, and the solid lines are going to be your mountain folds. So I'm going to start with my mountain folds, and it's easier for me to do this with the pattern on. So let's just fold again, and I'm going to do my 2 mountain folds first, and then I'm going to do my valley fold here. And I just find it easy to do with my fingernail, and then I'm going to take my bone folder and I'm going to crisp that edge. So here you have your mountains and your valleys, and again this one is going to be a valley fold again, so let's just get right on that fold line, and once I have that where I want it, I'm going to crisp it with my bone folder. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. I'm going to do first this fold, Then next, I'm going to do this fold. And this is design a series paper, so it's surprisingly easy to manipulate. And again, you don't have to really be perfect because no one's going to see these lines because they're on the pattern. So once you have this folded the way you'd like, you're going to slip that pattern out, and that's going to give you your dress. And you may have to score it again to get those lines where you'd like them. But I'm pretty happy with this, just to give you a different view so you can see it. Here you go. And now I'm going to put some adhesive just on the outside edge on both sides, so that when I put the dress down, only this center part and these two parts here are actually going to have adhesive on them. So let's center this where we want, but I'm going to scrunch it like the dress, and I'm going to spread it out so that it's almost hanging over the side of my card. Now for this part up here at the top, I would like to have that adhered down a little bit better. So I'm going to take my paper piercer and I'm going to pick up a mini glue dot, and I'm just going to hide that right underneath there. Now that I have that part of the dress, I'm going to take the second part of the dress here, and I'm going to put some Stampin' Dimensionals on the back of it, because I want that to actually sit up a little bit higher than the dress itself. I've cut this as a V-neck, but if you want to make it a scoop neck, you would just slip in one of your circle punches and just punch that out. So I'm going to remove the backing of my Stampin' Dimensionals, and now I'm just going to put this right here on top of the dress and then adhere it down. I'm then going to take a piece of our white grosgrain ribbon, and I find it easier to tie these kind of bows if I leave it attached to the roll. It just, you use less of it when you do that. So I'm going to just make a small bow, and I'm going to use my ribbon scissors to trim the edges, and then I'm going to use a mini glue dot to adhere my bow to the waist of my dress. I'm then going to take my pearls, and these come on a sheet, and I store these in a stamp case as well. And I'm just going to take a couple of pearls to accent my dress, make it look a little more realistic. Once I have that done, I'm going to do a greeting. To do my greeting, I'm going to be using one of my favorite stamp sets. This one is called Teeny Tiny Wishes, and it has small greetings that are perfect for this occasion. I'm going to be using a chocolate chip ink pad, and for your shower, I'm going to stamp that in chocolate chip on very vanilla cardstock, and then I'm going to be using our new framelits, and these are called Bitty Banners. And again, these come in a pocket, but I do put these in a stamp case as well. I just trim the label, stick that in, I put another one on the back, and then I store them right in here. So I'm going to be using this banner. These are just like our other framelits in that they have the ridged cutting edge. And so I'm going to position this over the words, and then I'm going to take a Post-it note, and I'm just going to put that right on top to hold that in place. And this doesn't even get cut because the cutting edge is actually on the other side. I'm then going to go back to my multi-purpose platform, and when we use framelits, our multi-purpose platform is closed. I am then going to be using 2 cutting plates, so I'm going to sandwich this in between my 2 cutting plates on top of my multi-purpose platform and run this through the bake shop. Once I do my greeting, I'm then going to press it onto the mini glue dot, because that's easier than putting the glue dot onto the cardstock. And so I have one on each side, and I just want it to touch the edges of my dress. So that is the pattern card as part of our new catalog edition of Project Parade today. This is a preview video, so if you are a subscriber to StampAcademy.com, you will find the directions and the pattern right below this video, and you can just download that and just make a copy of the pattern before you use it. If you like what you see and you're not a subscriber, you can certainly visit us at StampAcademy.com, and you can sign up today for the new catalog edition, 25 projects for only $24.95, and it begins June 1st and runs for 6 weeks. Again, thanks for stopping by StampAcademy.com.